This video will show using the Car-Bench Revolution structural repair package to perform structural repairs to this Ford Fusion. We're going to use the Car-Bench Revolution package, which consists of the Car-Bench structural repair bench, the Car-Bench 5-dimensional fixture sets that have enough strength to pull against, the Piranha pull arm, and a 3-dimensional electronic laser measuring system that we use to measure and to perform the placement of the fixtures for holding the parts in place. Now we're going to lower the car into the pinch welder rocker clamps, established our 4-point holding, at which point we can roll the machine back into the work stall where the work will be done, hook it to the lift, and proceed with 8-point holding. Okay, after doing this at all 4 corners, now we'll roll the bench back over to the work area and get started. Next, we're going to measure the structure of the car using the Infinity 3D laser measuring system. We'll start by mounting the scanner under the vehicle on the bridge, and then we will mount our 4 base measuring targets. And continue hanging targets into the vehicle and the other areas we want to measure. We'll start with the fronts of the front rails. The front of the front rail is damaged badly enough that we can't hang a target on that measuring point. So we'll go to the back, measure 2 points there. It's always important to measure the area of the vehicle away from the damage to ensure that no damage is transferred back into that portion of the vehicle. Here you can see we do have a minor amount of damage to the back, and we've got a height deviation of 7 millimeters in the left front rail and a width deviation of 32 millimeters. Next, we're going to place a crossbeam on the bench, put 2 bases on it, and build 2 measuring fixtures to lock these front 2 torque box points into position to begin with our 8-point holding. Bolt up to the torque box bolt for the rear subframe mount of the vehicle. Once we've established the basic positioning of all the different pieces, we're going to bolt the base for the height rod solidly to the cross member. Now we're going to tighten up all the bolts on this fixture to continue locking this point into place. We now have this torque box point solidly locked into place to help absorb the pressure of the pulls that we're going to put on the car and spread it through more than just the pinch weld or rocker areas of the vehicle. We'll go over to the other side and do the same thing there, and then move to the back and build torque box fixtures for the rear of the vehicle. Now we've established our 8-point holding, which as you can see from here is actually 7-point, because we have damage in this torque box point. We've left this loose and floating so it can move while we're pulling, and it's time to start pulling the rail that we're going to save back into position and doing the rough pull on the rail that we're going to replace to get the parts of the structure that it attaches to in the proper position ahead of the replacement. Okay, everything looks green, so we're good to go. Got our target all green within 2 mils of spec, so pulling's done on the front of this left rail, and the structural repair pulling wise is done. Now we'll put a crossbeam at the front of the bench so that we can build a fixture to solidly lock the front of the left rail that we now have in the correct position in place. After doing that and cutting off what's left of the right rail, we can use the Infinity to build a fixture to properly position the new replacement rail on the right side of the vehicle. All right, now we'll get what's left of the old damaged rail out of the car. Now, using the 3D laser measuring system to help us, we will build a fixture for locating the front of the right frame rail. First thing we'll do is attach a base for our height rod into the crossbeam at the same basic position that we had for the left front. Next, we'll put the adjustment slides for the length and the width onto the base plate. Position our height rod and bolt our bracket to the top. And we'll start off by positioning the bracket and the height rod in about the same position that we have the bracket and height rod for the opposite side at. And we will hang our infinity target off of the bushing, again like we have it on the opposite side. Using the LEDs on the side of the target, you can see top LED represents our height measurement, middle LED our width measurement, and the lower LED our length measurement. We have our tolerances set at 1 millimeter. So using these LEDs, we can position our 3 measurements, moving until the LED turns green. Once our LED is green, we know we were within 1 millimeter of spec at that point. We've got our height set, and I can solidly lock the locking bolt for the height rod in place so it will maintain that measurement. Next, we'll set our width measurement, sliding it again until our LED turns green. Once the LED is green, locking that in place. Now we can move on to our length measurement. Our length measurement's green now, so we can lock the 2 set screws on the length slide of our height rod bracket. Now that we have our fixture built for properly locating and for holding the front of the rail in place during the welding process, we'll remove the target and install the new rail. Sliding it into position back at the cowl area. Putting the proper spacers in between the rail and our bracket, and then threading the stud bushing back onto the front stud for the front of the set frame. Now we'll reinstall our target to ensure that nothing is moved during this process. All our LEDs are green, meaning that length, width, and height are all within 1 millimeter of the specification we have set. So we can move on to clamping and welding the rail at the back at this point. Okay, with the majority of the rail welded in position, one last thing to do is positioning this bumper mounting plate on the front of the rail. To do that, we're again going to build a fixture to lock it in place while we weld it. We set our target in place, establish our length, width, and height again using the LEDs on the target side. We got the height right on the first shot. Now we'll go for length, which is the bottom LED. And then go for width. All right, now we'll remove the target from the bracket, bolt it in position. Now we're ready to weld our bumper mounting plate to the end of the rail, and the structural repairs to the side rail are finished using the car bench and the fixtures for holding and the Infinity 3D laser measuring for placement and measuring.